I have 11 tips that will enhance your woodworking skills, and you may want to pay extra attention to number 7. I'm taking my job site table saw into professional cabinet territory without the high price tag. But I'm not just building any old table saw cart. This could literally save you a trip to the hospital. Let's get into it. As you can see here, if you have your eyes open, my job site saw is completely open, which makes dust collection an absolute nightmare. And I'm using my shop vac, which is not a great solution, and I'm gonna change all that. I'll enclose my table saw, and although a shop vac is better than nothing, I'm going to switch to something that will be a big upgrade. Okay, let's do something that your significant other did not want to do for a while when you started dating. I generally always label my pieces, and that ensures that I don't misplace or misuse any of the pieces that might be similar sizes. I'm really excited about this table saw cart because it's going to greatly decrease the amount of dust that will go into my lungs. But also, most tips and tricks videos go to 10, but I thought this video needed that extra push over the cliff, so this one goes to 11. I'm getting all the pieces to the main carcass of the cart cut to size, and then this middle shelf will be attached using pocket holes. I don't like to have to measure each individual piece, so when I can, I like to use referential measurements. That just means that I reference the part of the project that's already done to make sure future pieces are cut to the exact size they need to be. No fancy joinery here. I'm going to be attaching the pieces in the cabinet using butt joints and screws, and I'm just marking exactly where those screws need to go. If you're at all sensitive to creepy or frightening things, please look away now because apparently my workshop is haunted. But if I do indeed have a ghost, I'm definitely naming him Jeff. When I'm gluing up my pieces, I like to use what my daughter calls bluey tape, and if you don't get that reference, you are missing out. It's in reference to a show that's pretty much for adults. And I'll put this tape on the joints, and as long as I take the tape off when the glue is still wet, it greatly helps with cleanup if there is some glue squeeze out. I have a lot of screws to drive in this cabinet, and I used to not have an impact driver and just use my regular drill, but this is just so nice to have. It really makes quick work of driving in screws, and although it might not be essential in this project, if you're drilling any screws into the studs in your wall, this is definitely needed. The regular drill just will not drill some screws into the studs. You may be getting the hint that if I can avoid measuring, I'll avoid it. And that's why I'm using spacers to make sure this middle shelf is in the exact spot that it needs to be. It's time to make this cart mobile, and to secure the plywood feet, which the casters will screw into, I'm using some California glue, or CA glue for short. I'm using wood glue and CA glue with accelerator here, and the CA glue dries within about 20 or 30 seconds, acting as a clamp for the wood glue so I can move on and work on other parts of the project. And to ensure that this cart will hold the weight of my table saw and the material I run through it, I thought I would test out its weight limit, really the only way that I thought makes sense. It's no secret, I'm a big fan of unique storage solutions. In my workshop, yes, but also in the rest of my garage, which is why I'm installing the garage lifting storage rack from FlexiMounts. This 4-foot by 4-foot storage rack can hold loads up to 300 pounds and is actually pretty comfortable, almost too comfortable, but I'll get to that in a second. It's suitable for garages less than 9 feet high and can be installed in concrete ceilings or wood joists with 12, 16, or 24-inch spacing. I wanted to test out the holding capacity and see if it could at least hold 175 pounds of man, which it did a phenomenal job of. But I guess I was pretty beat by the install, so I accidentally took a nap that you could say is a little on the longer side. I guess I was a little surprised that I slept for so long, but no big deal. I went inside, shaved, and got back to work. FlexiMounts is a US company that provides storage and organizing solutions for garage and home, and their products are highly rated on Amazon, with their classic garage racks like this one being bestsellers. It was surprisingly fun to raise and lower this, and my wife is very happy that our garage is much more organized now. All right, now let's get back to the build. Okay, here's how I'm making sure that the tabletop for this cart will be the exact height that I need it to be for my table saw, and this can be adapted to any job site table saw. I'm just marking how tall these sides need to be for a small storage area and an extended cutting surface. It was really important that I made this cart easily adapted to any job site table saw, because I created really detailed written and video plans for this project, which can be found on my website, thomascustomwoodworks.com, and I'll also put a link to those plans in the video description below. And since I'm in a small one-car garage workshop and space is at a premium, I'll be adding a foldable wing to this cart, giving it even more cutting surface, and it can fold down and out of the way when not in use. It's really important for me to have shop furniture that's space efficient, because it just gives me so much more room for activities. Few tips that I give on this channel will ever be as good as number 7 coming up, and I don't want you to just read these words. I want you to internalize them, because they can really help you in the future in woodworking and in life. Yes, that tip was objectively hilarious, but seriously, sometimes it's good to give some ideas a few extra moments of consideration. Here's how I broke one of my drawer slides and had to buy more. When measuring exactly how wide my drawer fronts and backs needed to be, I just made them too big and cut them too wide, and so in a moment, you'll see a sped up comedy skit, really, of me jamming the bottom drawer in and breaking the drawer slide. Construction of the drawer boxes I stand behind, butt joints with trim head screws, I just should have learned from tip number 7 and made the drawers narrower. For the drawer faces, I'm a huge fan of insetting them about 1/8 of an inch, and this does a few things. One, it gives the cabinet some depth, which I think looks really nice. Dos, if there are any squareness issues, insetting the drawers hides that a little bit. And ithre, if you try to make the drawer faces perfectly flush with the front of the cabinet, if those faces protrude even just a little bit, it can make the cabinet not look great. I got the drawer slides all installed, and I like to do the final tightening with a screwdriver so I don't strip the screws. And the top drawer actually fit pretty nicely, but the bottom drawer, well, I'll just have you eat your popcorn and watch. The next day, I made the drawers narrower with a router and got some new drawer slides. I like to use playing cards when attaching the drawer face to make sure that I get an even reveal on all 4 sides, and now I'm going to attempt to answer all the questions I generally get when I post about this technique. No, the exact number of cards I'm using here doesn't really matter and won't help you. You just need to make sure you use the same number of cards on the bottom as you do the top, and the same number of cards on each side. Yes, I know I'm not the first person to do this, but I am the second. And no, it will not work unless you use half baseball cards and half playing cards like I did here. This is the year that I'm upping my dust collection game because I want to keep my lungies nice and healthy. So I started with my miter saw, and I made a video about that process, of course, and you can check out that video after you watch this one. And now it's time to improve my table saw. So I'm cutting a hole in this back panel, which I'll attach a dust port to that goes to the specific dust collector that I just bought. I did a lot of research and decided to purchase the Rockler Dust-Rite 1250 CFM dust collector, which I paid full price for, because it was wall mounted, didn't take up a lot of space, has a canister attachment which filters out all the fine particles, and it has done a really good job of sucking the dust into the dust bag. I didn't want to go out and buy a professional cabinet saw, so I asked myself, how can I take the two features I like most about those bigger saws and put them into my job site saw? So that is why I'm building this cart, which mostly encloses the table saw to help with dust collection and includes this foldable wing to increase the cutting surface. I've used this folding hardware before and it's always worked well, so I'll put a link to this in the description. But if you end up getting the plans, there'll be a list of all the hardware that I use with links. I really like to put foldable wings on my shop furniture to save space, but I am not the only one who loves wings. Could you just leave the hole how it is on the back panel and attach a shop vac to your table saw instead of a dust collector hose? Absolutely, and it would be much better than nothing. But a dust collector really does do a much better job of collecting dust, as the name would suggest. Even with this cart, are there benefits of having a professional cabinet saw? Yes, absolutely. But they're pretty expensive, and this cart does a great job of addressing the two things I love most about those larger saws: the table saw enclosure and the large cutting surface. I've been adulting for a few years now, and I've come to learn that everything isn't just expensive, everything is really expensive, table saws included. So when I had the opportunity to upgrade the saw that I already have instead of paying through the nose for a new one, I took it. Our lungs are precious, and it's always best to suck up as much dust as you can at the tool. So here's how to do that on the miter saw.